Get the cream, precious metals or the crypto things. Your bars are light like the one that's on the Smith machine. But my Maxwell and I ain't speaking about the pretty.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is Smackdown Review Part 2. Because I went a little long on reviewing the Roman Reigns Xavier Woods segment because I liked it so much, I decided to break it up into a different segment. So that's going to be the A part. And this is going to be the B part, which is everything else, because I don't think I'm going to go 20 minutes too much on everything else. So let's start after the Xavier Woods Roman Reigns stuff and talk about Survivor Series, the Survivor Series build. So we had to pick the last guy to be on the Survivor Series team, and we had the match Sheamus versus Cesaro versus Ricochet versus Jinder Mahal. And this match slapped. And I was not expecting this match to be as dope as it was. But it was a pretty dope match. You know, everybody got to look good for the most part except Jinder Mahal because he's Jinder Mahal. But kudos to Jinder Mahal for his television show. He's got a TV gig now. And I'm like, man, you see this guy cut promos? Like, somebody hired him to talk on television? And his promos are really still kind of stilted? Now, I don't want to hinder the gender. I don't want to do that. I just want to ask questions, about his ability to act. And I really want to see it. So if you got clips of Jinder Mahal acting on a television show, please send it to my email, which would be during the intro or the outro of this video, or send it to me on Twitter. I really want to see Jinder Mahal acting in a serious television role. I'm interested to see if he's better there than he is on Raw and SmackDown. I don't want to hinder the gender at all. Get that money, get that paper. So the match was dope. Everybody got their spots in. Ricochet looked phenomenal, and Ricochet is a dynamo. Best thing about it is because there isn't nobody else like him on the roster. All of his shit looks really good, and it looks like something only he can do. And the crowd pops a lot when he does it. Because it's not the 80th guy to do a tope suicida on the show or to do a flying whoopity-doo hurricane rana. It's only him. And they really protect that stuff, so really only a few guys do it. Cesaro bust out the swing on Jinder, who was, one of the biggest men in the match. He did about a 20 rotation turn. Then we got Ridge Holland. He came out there, distracted Cesaro. Cesaro gets hit with a brogue kick. Sheamus gets the last spot. Oi! Look at me, little buddy. Oi! It's me, Sheamus. Bring a tear to me, oi! How about that? That's Ridge Holland. It's a hell of a guy. He's gonna go to the bar. So Sheamus getting the last spot, smart decision. They really did kind of turn this Survivor Series match into an all-star game. With the exception of Austin Theory, just about everybody in this match is a main event talent that I can think of. I don't remember everybody who was on the team, but I can't think of anybody other than, Austin Theory and Happy Corbin, I guess. Because, they could have put a young guy on the SmackDown team, but I don't think they have any. I think they fired all of them. In any event, Ridge Holland and Sheamus are going to be a fun duo. We can just look at these two guys and just look at them, and I just look at them and smile because they're already hilarious. They already good. Ridge Holland, Sheamus is super excited about Ridge Holland. He's talking about how he's an inspiration to me partner Ridge Holland. He brings a tear to me, oi. Look at me at. Then Ridge Holland says something about Sheamus being his idol, and if he hadn't saw Sheamus on WWE TV, he should be fighting bums in the bars in Yorkshire. Then he says if anybody got a problem with what he did, they're gonna be at the bar. And then Sheamus was very happy to to oblige and go to the bar. This is gonna be great. If they let these two guys have fun, they're actually going to be able to unlock Ridge Holland's personality, and this may be really fun. Now, sure, initially Ridge Holland's going to be the guy eating pins. That's deference. He's the protege. He's going to be the guy eating pins. But I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of time before that starts to occur. Hopefully. Hopefully they don't just, have him losing to Cesaro like next week or something like that. Give it some time. Let Ridge Holland develop a little bit. So, this has been very good. This is very good. They showed a vignette for Becky and Charlotte. There were, because I know a lot of people think that, their heat is a work, which, I'm sure some of it is, because they will have to work together eventually, so you're going to use it. But I think a lot of the Ric Flair stuff is not a work. When Becky Lynch went out there and she said about Ric Flair, about how she was going to torch. She was talking to, I think it was Ariel Helwani, or was it Barstool? It was one of two. And she was talking about she had this great biting response for Ric Flair, and then she deleted it. And it went from she started feeling bad for him because he had essentially dug a hole for himself, and now he's using her to promote his podcast, which he is. And he's using her to promote peace with WWE, and Ric Flair is talking about how he wants his belts back and how he sold the trademark to the man, to WWE, and all this kind of stuff, and how he's going to make a trip to Survivor Series to see this. And look, WWE is not going to work with Ric Flair right now because he's radioactive. So that tells me alone that certain parts of this is not a work. I do believe that a lot of anything that they mention on television is probably going to be a work. But a lot of the stuff they're not mentioning on television, I think that it's just people picked up the hint and they're just kind of going with it because now folks are going to ask them about it. Charlotte has tried not to bury Becky Lynch in public, but Becky has not been as gracious. The whole thing from Charlotte's perspective is, hey, there can only be one alpha female, and we don't get along in that when it comes to that. In her book, she talked about her having a similar situation with Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks has talked about it when it comes to Ronda Rousey. When Ronda Rousey came in and she got that big money, and she was very unhappy with that. So these women are just as competitive as the guys are. And just like the guys, there's going to be some legitimate heat, and there's going to be some working heat. They're going to have to work together. It's inevitable. And they already booked the match for Survivor Series. So I think that I think it's probably 80-20 work. And I don't think they're going to go in there and try to kill each other and chainsaw each other in half or anything like that. But I think that there are certain elements of this that is not a work. And I think a lot of those elements that are not a work are elements that involve Ric Flair. But to be quite honest, a lot of that stuff was probably old heat anyway. Because Ric Flair was under contract until this year, remember? So he was kind of being passive aggressive about the man and all that kind of stuff back when it first started. And I know that him and WWE got into a little bit of a thing about it in a lawsuit or whatever. And then it kind of went away, which I'm guessing, he just didn't have any money and he just needed some cash, and, he probably got floated some money from the company. But now he can't, get floated money from the company anymore. He probably still is getting paid something. Let's be honest about it. Vince is not going to, he doesn't give a shit about this stuff. He's trying to do PR stuff. So he's not going to bring Ric Flair back on television. That's bad PR. But if Rick wanted a personal favor, he would more than likely, oblige. Let's put it like that. But then there are certain things that they can't do. Like you're talking about Ric Flair wants his belts back. It's like, yeah, you can forget those. You can get them belts back. You can forget that. Especially if they really about to start a theme park or something like that, you can forget it. They're not about to get them belts back. You sold them because you were broke. That shit is absurd. You sold the belts because you were broke. So now I guess you got a little bit more money. You're like, hey, I would like them back. You're like, no. You're willing to give me back that loan I floated you and pay me for the belts? Sure, I guess. But now the belts are worth so much more to them because they can do stuff like most wanted treasures and shit like that. No, I don't see the benefit of it. And I do see that he has been using his issues with WWE to push his new podcast, which is with Mark Madden. And I rolled my eyes as soon as I saw Mark Madden was involved. I was kind of like, yeah, right. Not thrilled about that. Mark Madden can fuck all the way off. In any event, a lot of this is sad. So I kind of agree with Becky Lynch that, Ric Flair is in a position where he's acting this way. It's totally not necessary, but now he's not with the company anymore, and he can be a little bit more upfront about his dislike of some things that he had to do when he didn't have any money. Well, it's too bad. You can't go back. All right, so back to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy was wearing an Edge shirt, which I thought was interesting. And he started talking about how great his teammates were, like Drew McIntyre and Xavier Woods. And then Happy Corbin showed up, and Jeff remarked that Happy Corbin is not a good team member. Madcap Moss decided to cut a joke. It was absolutely trash. It was boring and trash. It was a stupid joke. Madcap Moss is bad on purpose, but it's just bad. It's bad. And I know he's bad on purpose. Adam Pearce showed up and said he wanted SmackDown to win, which of course raised one of my eyebrows. So I'm like, you said you wanted Raw to win. He's up to no good, that Adam Pearce. He's a no good bastard. Anyway, he said he wanted them to win, so he wanted them to go out there and work out their problems. He's going to have Jeff Hardy wrestle Madcap Moss. They did so. Madcap Moss was defeated. Drew McIntyre was in the corner of Jeff Hardy. The last thing I really want to deal with is Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin. I don't want that. I don't like Happy Corbin. Corbin sucks. I like bum-ass Corbin. He was so much fun. And now we stuck with this Happy thing. This Happy thing is garbage. All right, so Aaliyah, fresh off of being booted from Survivor Series, is on tag team with Naomi. And as usual, somebody's teaming up with Naomi. They try to do her dance routine, and Aaliyah did not look good doing it. She was very stiff. She's too young to be that stiff. And her opponents were Shayna Baszler and Natalya. Thrilling. Natalya. Absolutely. Ugh. Anyway, Ref Aja fast counted Naomi, 3 count on the shoulders. And Naomi was defeated by Natalya. And of course, the heels acted like they won fair and square. No big deal. Of course, we won. Naomi was outraged. Aaliyah was confused. I don't think she was even around to see it. Later, Sami Zayn is back talking about his documentary because his thing that he had with Hit Row apparently ended. Jinder Mahal's thing with Hit Row also ended. So he's back talking about his documentary, and he's paranoid. He says the documentary has been ready for 6 months and has yet to air. So he's complaining to Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville said, okay, well, look at here. There's going to be a 25-man battle royal, and you can win that. Of course, they don't say that the winner gets anything, because what would the winner actually get? Who knows? Nobody gets anything from these matches. That's why, when they say, oh, the tickets are not selling. I was like, oh, are you surprised? Are you surprised? It's not the problem of what they have so little promotion. The problem is that there's no fucking stakes. There's nothing to be gained or lost in these matches. Now, do I expect them to do decent in terms of tickets? Sure. But they're stealing money at this point. You just want to go to the matches if you go to see Survivor Series at this point. Because they're not going to put in, unless they're going to throw something in there at the 11th hour where every match is winner take all, then I expect the building to sell out. But, as long as it's, oh yeah, it's brand supremacy. And I'm glad to see all the wrestlers talking about brand supremacy being stupid. Thank you, guys. Which only means to me that probably somebody with some clout told them, yeah, go out there and say brand supremacy sucks. Because that's what everybody wants to hear. In any event, Sami Zayn will be in the 25-man battle royal, which will be a when he says I'm about to say memorial. It will be like in honor of The Rock's 25 years. They've been doing a lot when it comes to this whole Rock thing, and it makes a lot of people think that The Rock is going to show up. And I'm telling you, if that building is half empty and The Rock shows up, oh, people are going to be so salty. Ooh, people are going to be so salty. If The Rock shows up and the building is half empty, man. But I don't know if WWE would really have The Rock show up and the building won't be full. And they didn't even. But the 25 years thing would be a cool little way of telling people, hey, The Rock may show up. We have been teasing Rock and Roman, and they also have, The Rock has said that he won't be doing it. So, but that doesn't mean they won't do an angle or something like that. So, I don't know, but this battle royal it sounds really, really crooked and silly. Ref Aja walked up to Sonya Deville, who apparently knows that she's on camera, and acted like she didn't know who Ref Aja was, and told her that she does not associate with crooked referees, and that was it. So clearly, Ref Aja was under orders from Sonya Deville to fuck over Naomi. Got the black woman to fuck over the black woman. Black on black crime. WWE edition. So my issue here is, how can we take Ref Aja seriously now? You destroyed her character. She's on the take. Like even when they did it when they did it with the Hebners, they did evil twin Hebner. When they with Andre and Hogan, they did evil twin. Here, unless they're going to do evil twin, Ref Aja can't referee another match because people are going to think she's on the take. Now, I know that they've done gimmicks before with like Lil Nate and all that kind of stuff when it comes to the referees. But that's a big logic gap. That once you catch a referee doing something like taking a bribe or something like that, you do have to ask basic questions like, can you continue to trust this referee? Or was it a thing where she is an NXT referee? And since she's going to go back to being an NXT referee, we're going to just forget it happened. And we're going to say, oh, well, she's an NXT referee anyway. And which is what Sonya Deville kind of planted that seed, that she's an NXT referee trying to make it on the main roster. And she just did what she was told. So I'm guessing she's going to get, quote, demoted back to NXT for a while until people forget. Yeah, she's going to get brought back. But I think we should play that angle. It should be some type of chicanery there. We're talking about an official interfering in a match. Like this is, and it was like a nothing tag team match too, so it was kind of weird. But I liked the angle. I thought the angle was great. I really wish there had been something on the line for Naomi and she got cheated like that, like her career was on the line or something. Then that would have been a lot better. That would have been more fun. So, next, Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Angel Garza. I'm sorry, Angel. In a match that I was really looking forward to, but because Angel ... is a tag team wrestler, it wasn't as good as it could have been. Umberto still has a last name, despite the fact that they changed his last name to Umberto. Now, on the Trons, it said Umberto Carrillo. So I'm guessing he's still Umberto Carrillo until further notice. So could have been fun. 0 bill for Shinsuke and Damian Priest, 2 baby faces. I don't know. Whatever. So they got the Shotzi and Sasha segment. I like this. I like all of this. Shotzi stood there and said that Sasha Banks is vindictive and petty, but she is too. And then when she gets screwed over, she doesn't never forget it. And then Shotzi said, well, Sasha Banks, these S's are killing me, said that nobody would know who Shotzi was if it wasn't for her, since she is the boss, the blueprint, the standard, yada, 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 and she's rich, which, of course, I'm sure Sasha was thrilled about. Sasha really thrilled about being rich now. So they have the match, Sasha Banks versus Shotzi Blackheart, or Shotzi, not Shotzi Blackheart. I'm going to be honest. I think this match was great. This match was fantastic. And it was fantastic. Now, I do have my problems with it for, obvious reasons. But they did something that was so simple that you very rarely see. They worked the body part. Shotzi targeted the arm. They still had all of the other stuff that they do in these matches. But something as simple as, putting Sasha's arm in the stairs and kicking it. And then working the arm for the rest of the match. Really great psychology there, And I really would have liked for Shotzi to be more aggressive and to talk more. Like when she called Sasha trash later in the match, It felt well timed, but it also felt like it was, she should have been talking that shit the whole time. You know, like she kept, like that's the one good thing some people like Kevin Owens do is they always engage. They keep engaging. They engage with the audience. They engage with their opponents. There's all constant chitter chatter, and it just feels like you have to pay attention to what they're saying and what they're doing. But sometimes these people, they kind of ignore the crowd and they act like the crowd don't exist. And it's like, no, you have to play to the crowd at some point, or at least wait for them to respond, which is of course playing to the crowd. But so that was great. They did a really good job of protecting Shotzi's finish, which is the top rope senton. Like she landed it, but then Sasha rolled out of the ring to avoid being pinned. So I thought that was great. I do believe Shotzi should change her finish though. For instance, she did in this match a sliced bread number 2. It wasn't very well performed, but I think she should definitely look into doing that more and using that as a finish, or using the Spike Dudley finish. What was it called? The acid drop, I think it's called, where he does the run up the ropes and into the cutter. That would be cool. I like that for a finish for a heel Shotzi. That would be dope because it still has some of the flash from her regular moveset, but it also has a little bit more energy, and she can do it to anybody. Like it's not a size thing. Like she can do a sliced bread to anybody of any size. So I think she should move towards that being her finish. And you can do a top rope senton to anybody too, but I mean, you got a tailbone, and you're a human being. Eventually, jumping off the top rope like that is eventually going to start bothering your tailbone. So Shotzi loses via submission because Sasha Banks used her legs instead of her arm, which is one of Sasha's favorite kinds of matches. She's done this spot several times, and it's always very cool. And so Shotzi gives it up, submits. Then Sonya Deville is out there to supervise their handshake because this match was supposed to end the feud and make sure they can coexist after all of this nonsense. Shotzi looked back, and even though she didn't want to shake Sasha Banks' hand, she did it. And then Sasha gave her a backstabber and told Sonya Deville, hey, I did what you wanted me to do. And Shotzi walked away. Well, Shotzi laid there looking like a complete and total putz because Sasha Banks outsmarted her and beat her up and made her submit. And, there that go, right? 4 horsewomen, baby. There that go. There was a smattering of boos for what Sasha Banks did. There's people who still like Shotzi. There's not, there aren't enough people. She's still very new in the turn. And some people are kind of like, okay, I'm going to give her a chance. But she works a very crowd-pleasing style at the same time. She worked pretty technical here. So it wasn't too bad. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I don't know why you would leave her looking like a putz like that. Like she get beat up by Sasha Banks on several different occasions. Like, come on. All right, so the following segments are women's segments. Toni Storm talked about repping NXT in 2019. Then she laid out her master plan to piss off Charlotte. So once Charlotte loses to Becky Lynch, which of course she believes that Charlotte would lose, that she would be so mad that she would pick a fight with Toni Storm, and then Toni Storm would get a title shot from this. That was her plan. That was her brilliant plan. It's to piss off Charlotte to the point where she'd get a title shot. But hoping that Becky Lynch beat Charlotte so that Charlotte could be so embarrassed and want to rebound. So she's looking to be the rebound girl. She's trying to get a rebound out of all of this. So like, okay, whatever. Charlotte overheard this and says, okay, well, look, I'll save you all the trouble. I'll give you the title shot, and I'm going to do whatever I do to Becky, I'm doing it to you. Now, that's fine. I liked the idea of Charlotte versus Toni Storm. I love that. I don't have no problem with that. Ain't got no beef with that one, dog. The issue I have, and I saw other people have, is that they have changed Toni Storm's look. She no longer wears like the leather jackets and hats and stuff like that. She's now kind of wearing, I would say, normal clothes. And to that, I say you already have a character wearing leather jackets and studs and all that kind of stuff because Shotzi's doing it. So they walk in, both of them are doing some version of hard rock, punk style look. You can't have two of those. So essentially they said, okay, which one is the easiest to change? And the one that's the easiest to change is Toni, because Shotzi has green hair, and you can't like force her to go like complete. You would kill Shotzi in order to change too much about who she is. Like they've already matured the character a lot, and people are kind of miffed about that. And they did get rid of her helmet. They kept the jacket, but they got rid of her helmet. Hopefully the helmet and the tank will be back when she goes back to being the babyface. But we don't know what they've changed specifically with Toni Storm yet. We just see that she's dressed fairly normal, and I don't like that part. Like I get that you don't want two people wearing leather jackets with studs and chains and funny hats and stuff like that. I get that that's not what you want, but at the same time, you don't want Toni Storm to be dressed normal either, because if she's dressed normally, then she's gonna get treated like a normal person. You want to take what she has and take it to the next level. And she is, and she's always been sort of glam rock. So it seems like they're going to go more glam than rock. But I want to see her entrance and her matches and everything. And then I'll be able to, I'm not going to freak out over how she looks right now. Because it looks like if they're firing people every 2 weeks or something like that, it looks like she's going to last at least till the business with Charlotte is done. So the question, of course, remains is what the fuck is going to happen with Shotzi, because it seems like her thing with Sasha Banks probably won't be over. Hopefully she's the reason Sasha loses on Sunday. She turns on Sasha, beats her with a chair, or throws her out of the building or something on her head. Hopefully they don't kill off Shotzi like this. And that the end of that match was mostly just a way of giving Shotzi a reason to continue the feud later. But Toni Storm and Charlotte should be fun. I really enjoyed their segment. Toni Storm felt natural cutting that promo. It didn't sound stilted at all. That promo that she cut was better than her NXT promos, and it was better than the promo she cut at first. So I think she's gotten a little bit better, a little bit more natural feel to it. So that's very good. So the final thing we have to discuss is another character change, which is they changed the character of Xia Li. Xia Li, the Mortal Kombat-inspired super warrior, is now a protector of the weak via a comic book that she told her life story in, where her father was her superhero, and then he died, and someone needed to step up to fill the void, and it was her. She decided to do this. And she's still doing martial arts. That's not the problem. But the problem now is that she is a baby face. She is not a heel. She is now a hero. And I was flummoxed by this. Such a drastic and sharp character change. And I get it if that would have been the underlying element to the character that she portrayed in Tian Sha. That would have been fine. But give us the Tian Sha Xia Li first, and then transition to this. And maybe this informs why she joined Tian Sha. But it seems that because they also changed Mei Ying, I saw on the dirt sheets that Mei Ying is being scrapped. They killing that character. So I'm guessing that's why they changed Xia Li as well. Get rid of Tian Sha. But the question is, what was wrong with Tian Sha? What was the problem? And then you still got the Boa issue. Boa is still there, and he's still doing the gimmick. So we're going to just leave Boa with Tian Sha. Mei Ying, who's still in NXT, is going to get revamped and rechanged. And Xia Li, who has not stepped foot on the main roster yet, went from being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a member of the Hand, murder ninja, to fighting superhero. What the fuck is going on? And I saw a lot of people, they was cracking a joke about Xia Li going to get released and all that kind of stuff. And, she's 32. Okay. So they are kind of releasing people in that age bracket who have very little experience. She's also quite small. But I think because she's the first ever Chinese female wrestler, they want to keep her around maybe. At least give her a chance. Now I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do. I'm saying it's possible. Her English is actually pretty good too because she narrated the little comic book. And it smacks of Aleister Black to me. Because remember they did all those vignettes for Aleister Black. He made one debut and then got fired almost the next week, pretty much. So I'm looking at this thing with Xia Li and saying to myself, they did a drastic character change for almost no fucking reason. They didn't even give us the Xia Li that we wanted from NXT. And I'm not saying that this is going to be a big change, but it is going to be a big change. Because the viciousness and the aggressiveness of Tian Sha, Xia Li, is what we were looking forward to being on SmackDown. And if she's going to be, I hate to put it this way, but the resident Asian on SmackDown, maybe that's why they want her to be a babyface. Because you got Sesame Street creating Chinese puppets that are going to be representative of the Chinese people or the Asian community on Sesame Street. So maybe Vince had the idea, or some genius was like, hey, that the Muppets are creating this Chinese Muppet, and they're going to be good for anti-Stop Asian Hate categories, and we're going to introduce a crazy fighting machine Asian as a heel. And maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should, twist it and she's a superhero now. And I'm like, for starters, everybody doesn't have to be a superhero. There's too many superheroes. There's too many people talking about being superheroes. We don't need that. Second, just because Xia Li was a darker character in Tian Sha doesn't mean she had to be a heel. She could have been a badass babyface. She could have been a knockout babyface. She could have been very good in that role, where all she did was come out there and did three things. She hit people hard, she kicked people's heads off, and that was it. Would have got behind that. I could see the folk getting behind that. But I'm not a fan of the change to Xia Li. And you can even tell from the presentation that they're looking to make the character lighter and definitely more face-ish. And this is a stark difference from just last week. So, of course, we have to ask the question, what is her music going to be like? What is her introduction going to be like? Because the coolness, the dark Kumite style lighting of NXT is going to be gone. It's like everything that ever happened in NXT is gone. And that's the one thing that frustrates the fuck out of me. It's like people act like NXT is not a WWE property. Like, bro, it is. Like, what? Why are you like, okay, you want to make changes? Sure, you have to make changes. But to change it so much to the point where it's something completely different. We're not talking about like Tony Storm, right? They just, hey, too many people running around in black jackets, and these spiky jackets. All right, somebody's got to change. Who is going to flip a coin? Boop, you're the blonde, you got the mismatched hair and everything. Okay, we're going to take your jacket. You'll get it back when you're done here. Shotzi's going to do that because it fits her gimmick more. She got the tattoos, the green hair. It fits her gimmick to be a little bit more punk rock. We're going to go with her. We can model you up. We can Mandy Rose you. So we're going to do that with Toni Storm. It doesn't change her character that much. Even though I hope it doesn't. We'll see when it comes to her entrance and everything. But Xia Li, it's like she was already smiley Asian babyface in NXT and it didn't work out. Like, she was that forever. And she was only in Tian Sha for like 6 months and that shit got over. So I don't know, man. It seems weird to me, but I think it has something to do with all this Stop Asian Hate stuff. And they even had Asuka doing those commercials for Stop Asian Hate. So I'm trying to think of, do they even have any Asian heels on WWE's roster right now? And Akira Tozawa is, I guess, an Asian heel, but he's a comedy guy. So is he really a heel? You're not supposed to boo him. He's a comedy dude. I'm guessing Boa might be the only one. I can't think of any other Asian heels on the roster. They really don't have any. So, this is very tough. This is a very tough loss for me to discuss this losing Xia Li, because I actually was looking forward to seeing what she was going to do. And I was hoping she was going to get in there with Aaliyah and just immediately boot her head into the third row just to get over. And that would have been a great reason to make Aaliyah look good for at least for a couple of weeks. Is that she comes out there and she's Xia Li's first opponent, and Xia Li just had to punt her head into the goddamn nearest river. Like, that shit would have been awesome. But apparently, I'm not saying that Xia Li still can't keep people's heads off, but she's a babyface now, so I'm guessing she's going to have to be a little bit lighter with those kicks. But I'm not a fan of the whole, I am my father's daughter. And I'm like, oh no. She's a kung fu protagonist. She's going to be like Jackie Chan or some shit. This is going to suck ass. If she... Now, wait a minute. It won't. It won't suck ass. If they do Xia Li as Jackie Chan, that would fucking rule. Because Jackie Chan rules. Until he became, super Chinese man and, Hong Kong should be a part of China and all that horse shit. Jackie Chan ruled. In the 90s, he was great. Like, if Xia Li went out there and went full drunken master and was doing all the kooky fight scenes that Jackie Chan could do, that would fucking rule. That would fit WWE perfectly. Because Jackie Chan was mostly comedic. And, he did a lot of comedy, slapstick, martial arts and stuff like that. If she could do that shit, that would really work in WWE. That shit would really get over. It would. But I'm far more into the whole Tekken tournament Xia Li. I'm way more into that. I'd never forget when she kicked the shit out of Mercedes Martinez. That shit ruled. And it was reckless as fuck. That shit was great at the same time, because it's like it added an element of danger to that character that was marketable. Because you're like, holy shit. You see that, you're like, man, she's a bad motherfucker. Because Mercedes Martinez is no small woman, and she's not no rookie. So if you manage to boot her head off and make it look good, yeah, I'm all in. We all in. So, all the character changes, the music changes, WWE changes something every goddamn week. I just hope that they actually stick with this, and it's not just going to end up with, hey, I don't know what to do. We changed her to the protector. Nobody cares. It's like, because that's not what nobody knows what this is. It's the same thing with Hit Row. You went from Hit Row being a heel group to them being a babyface group. They talked and they rapped. And then they came to SmackDown and all they did was rap. And it was like, no, that's not, they have to talk like normal people too. All rappers don't walk around rhyming all day. You're not fucking Count Chocula or something like that. That's not how this works. But WWE going WWE, man. They going to do what they do. And not enough people are going to care about Xia Li in order to bitch and complain about if she get the chop. I'll be the only one sitting in the corner like, man, look at what we could have had. But I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna give everybody a chance until they prove otherwise. But I do like the new Shotzi. I wish she would have still had her helmet. Whatever. New Toni Storm on the cusp. New Ridge Holland as Smiley, good buddy to Sheamus. I love it. Thumbs up. Great change, by the way. Instead of being a surly, mostly quiet guy that he was on NXT, he's already showing more personality by being Sheamus' little buddy than he ever did on NXT or NXT UK. So they're improving, and he's going to do pretty good. Hopefully, they don't give him the chop. But, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I will talk to you guys later.